Knowledge evaluation is performed both in the present system and in the distance and thus online system. Let's start with the present system, or so-called on-site system. As it is known, in the classical present system, students are evaluated on the basis of completing tests, elaboration of semester works, and execution of final exams. Knowledge can also be gained thanks to self-study systems, in which students can choose from a wide range of different topics and subjects. The tests, by which knowledge is evaluated, differ in the type of questions. Some consist of only one type, some are a combination of several types, such as tasks with choosing the right option, questions with the need to add only a part of the answer, tasks with the completion of the result, and an explanation of a particular term or issue. Students elaborate various semester works during the semester. They are usually based on assignments, calculated exercises, models, and also on programmed programs in IT fields. Some of them are developed by students themselves, but some projects require teamwork. The final evaluation of students is performed mainly on the basis of final exams. These are carried out in the written or oral form. The written form usually consists of tests, calculated exercises, or programmed programs. In the oral part of the exam, students answer questions or explain certain issues. In addition to school education, students also use self-study systems to acquire knowledge. In these systems, students primarily choose topics that relate to their field of study. However, that is not a rule, so students often study in areas that are not relevant at all or only marginally to their field of study. They participate in various webinars, seminars, online courses, and online training. Students solve pre-arranged tasks and assignments. The successful completion of some self-study systems is rewarded by obtaining official certification. In recent times, the distance learning system has also become a frequent part of education. During this type of education, the teaching process did not change much in many fields of study. Students also work on tests and semester works, and they end the semester with final exams and can also study in self-study systems. But the same or similar things are handled differently. Tests are performed by students online. Semester works created by students themselves or in teams are then presented to the teacher online as well. During the final exams, students are tested online and can communicate with the teacher via video call. Plagiarism and deprecation happen a little more often during distance learning and testing. Some teachers monitor students during tests by student screen sharing or with their cameras or microphones on. Duplicity checking of certain tasks or codes is possible using special programs. Students should be able to study individually, but also in groups on various projects. They need to know how to work with resources and literature. After studying the curriculum, they should be able to perform its repetition using available materials. The traditional materials that are available to students for their studies are books, textbooks, and scripts. Assignments with their solutions are very helpful as well. Recordings of lessons and lectures are also becoming more and more common study material and are very helpful as students have direct verbal interpretation from the teacher and can also listen to it more than once. Many students are used to looking for tutorials that will help them better understand certain study topics. Through assessments, students demonstrate how much of the expected learning outcomes they achieve. Teachers find out practical use of knowledge, so whether students can apply the acquired knowledge in practice, quality of knowledge, so whether students master or understand the subject matter, and quantity of knowledge, so how much knowledge students have. The assessment system in the subject significantly affects the motivation of students to learn. Preparing university teachers for this activity is very important because it is essential for the student. The most important thing in relation to students is to determine the requirements for successful completion of the course and the related assessment methods, which will be in accordance with the set learning outcomes of the study program, initially made available, presented, and defined for students, and in a partnership discussion with university students so that they help their development as effectively as possible. The pedagogical evaluation should be targeted, so the teachers focus on predetermined learning objectives and outcomes. It should be systematic. Evaluation is variable in order to best cover diverse objectives, and at the same time it is comprehensive. It should be effective, so that the evaluation is not considered only as an assessment of the student's success, but also as a support for his motivation to study. It should be also informative. The evaluation of its content provides information about what needs to be known and must be understandable to the student. The control of learning outcomes consists of two interconnected activities: verification or testing, and evaluation or rating. The evaluation may also include a classification, which is usually expressed in the form of a number or a mark. The university teacher should use both formative and summative assessments. Summative assessment should build on long-term and thoughtful work with formative assessment. The form of examination and the method of student evaluation is chosen by the university teacher according to the goals and outcomes of education defined in the description of the study program. It is also based on the specific knowledge, skills, and competencies required. It is therefore clear that a university teacher must have these questions when writing available and measurable learning outcomes. The form of examination, the method of evaluation, and the evaluation criteria should be clarified in the syllabus. The evaluation scale at the faculty is in accordance with the evaluation scale of the university. An evaluation or testing metrics can be an excellent tool in planning the forms of testing and the method of evaluation in accordance with the defined outcomes and objectives of education. It contains answers to the following questions: what is the content and what levels of understanding should be covered in the evaluation? What percentage of questions and tasks should relate to the above categories? How many questions should the evaluation include? And what do the questions focus on? Evaluation matrices can be different in detail, depending mainly on the combination of evaluation methods. There is the example of the simple evaluation matrix. It consists of area, weight, and rating tool. This example of the evaluation and the testing matrix consists of area of knowledge, examination, points, and project evaluation. Let's take a look at an overview of selected forms and methods of evaluation. According to what a student's performance is compared to, we know differential evaluation or normative assessment, where the student's performance is compared with the performance of other students, such as at admission procedure. Verifying evaluation or criteria evaluation, it determines whether a particular performance or criterion has been met or not. For example, to give a certificate only by meeting the necessary requirements. And individualized assessment, in which the level of students' abilities is compared with his own performance in the previous period. For example, using the student's self-assessment card, which allows students to analyze their own learning or student portfolio. By objective, there exists formative evaluation, where the aim is feedback, obtaining information on how students learn, diagnosing shortcomings, mistakes, and difficulties, which cause in students' learning to eliminate them and streamlining the teaching process. Summative assessment, where the aim is to determine the results of the student's learning process, his level of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. By activity, we distinguish evaluation of the activity process, where the course of the activity is evaluated, such as laboratory exercises, presentations, how the student approaches the solution, and how he works with information. Evaluation of activity result, in which the final models, technical drawings, seminar works, protocols, or presentations are evaluated. According to who is an evaluator, we know internal evaluation, when the evaluation is performed by a university teacher who educates students, and external evaluation, when the evaluation is performed by a university teacher who does not educate the students, for example at state exams. By degree of creativity, there exist open book exams, in which students can use any literature and other aids. Such testing and subsequent evaluation are focused on higher cognitive processes, the ability to solve problems, create and design solutions. Portfolio, which is a set of students' works collected over a certain period of the student's learning, which provides various information about the experience and its learning outcomes. It helps to create a picture of the student's strengths and weaknesses, and it supports the student's responsibility for their own education and increases motivation to learn. Developing or authentic evaluation is a set of tools that are used to easily test students' hidden or effectively difficult to measure abilities that manifest themselves during a constructivist educational process, such as group teaching in the form of cooperation and collaboration. The teacher organizes the teaching process so that it is as close to real life as possible. Calculation is based on collaboration, and it is implemented when a learning group expresses its evaluations of the activities and projects. Student self-evaluation is a form of metacognition that allows students to process what they did in the classroom and why they did it, or laboratory assignments that allow students to track their work toward a goal and can help both teachers and students demonstrate progress towards standards. By source of obtaining information, we distinguish oral examination, which is realized by an interview or a separate oral presentation of the student, written examination, which is realized by written work, homework, laboratory exam reports, or didactic tests. In a practical examination, the student must apply the theoretical knowledge associated with the skills. and didactic tests are a tool for systematic identification or measurement of the result of the teaching process.